So the Poles had to roll 2 4s, a 2, a 1, and a 5. So the 5 will give them a chain of command die. And then the 4 they're going to use for their senior leader. And the 2 and the 1, they're going to figure something else for that. So let's take a look and see what they do. Quite a significant turn for the Poles. The anti-tank gun finally makes its penetration and destroys the PZ-1. More shock put on this squad, and the Poles basically brought on another squad and put it on tactical right over there. Wonder what they're going to do with them. Now we will go to the German phase. The Germans got another lucky roll. They rolled 3 6s, which means the turn ends. So anything that like Overwatch or Tactical comes off. Also, they got a 3 and a 4. So they get to go again after this phase. So they're going to decide to do do something with that 3 and a 4. Also, I should say that they lost a force morale point because of the loss of the tank and because of the junior leader getting wounded. So the Germans are a little stung by that loss of their tank, so they put out another, their last infantry squad, which is run by Stanz Liebman, and then they advanced by way of the senior leader, this squad to the defense line. And actually, what the senior leader can do is remove some shock over here, so I should have done that. So the senior leader used 1 initiative to move the squad, and then he's going to use 2 initiative to remove this 2 shock from the light machine gun team. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go to the next German phase. Since they've rolled 3 6s, they get to go again. Oh, one more thing. That tactical over there of the Polish squad comes off because the turn ended. So the Germans rolled a 4, 3, 2, and 2 5s, which will go to the chain of command die. So now they're at 4 pips for their first chain of command die. That's what do that. And then we have to figure out what they're going to do with these 3 die. Okay, we'll do that and see what we got. So the German second phase, not very earth-shattering, but this junior leader, since he's reduced to just 1 initiative, it was required to remove a shock. This senior leader moved the troops up to the next fence line. And then over here, Liebman moved his troops within just 4 inches at the end of the wood, so he can't really be seen yet. And that's the end of the German phase, and now we're on to the Polish phase. The Poles felt they needed to do a little something extra, so they used one of their extra command dice and got 2 5s, which will give them 5 pips for a chain of command die, a 3, a 2, and 2 4s. Let's see what they're going to do with that. So the Poles caused no damage that turn. This is what they did. They used the 3 to go tactical here. The senior leader set this squad to go tactical. The 2 was used by this squad to shoot, and the senior leader got the anti-tank gun to use HE to shoot at this squad over here, and no damage was done on the Germans. So now we're off to the German phase. The Germans have been killing it with the 3 6s. They ended the turn again, and they get to go again, and they got 2 4s and a 3. So we're going to see what they do with that. So this phase was a bit more productive for the Germans. They caused a couple shock on this squad, and a couple kills on that squad, and shock, and actually a kill on this squad. They did that with a light mortar. They brought on a light mortar to do that. The senior leader fired the light machine gun, and then the junior leader here, Liebman, fired his whole squad. And there you have it. So the Poles had a very nice roll. They chose to use one of their extra command dice and rolled 2 6s, so they get the next phase. They rolled a 4, 2 3s, and a 2. So let's see what the Poles can do with that. So the Poles did some damage. This squad shot. The junior leader removed the shock, shot over here, and caused a little damage on this German squad. this Polish squad also shot at this German squad right here. It caused some shock and some kills. Over here, this reduced Polish squad, the senior leader actually took off a shock and had the anti-tank gun shoot HE, and this reduced Polish squad to shoot at these Germans here, which caused some shock, along with deploying another Polish squad to go ahead and shoot at those Germans there. And now the Poles get another phase since they rolled 2 6s. So let's see what happens there. So here's the German. They get the end of turn, so that unit's no longer pinned, and they get a 4 and a 5. So they'll get another pip on their chain of command die. And then they have to roll for special things that happen. We'll have to roll for that, and then we'll actually do a move. We'll use the 4 for the senior leader. So the Germans used the 4 for the senior leader to help this flank, and took out 3 shocks, and removed the pin because the turn ended. The turn is ended, and the Germans get to go again and to roll. So their random event was that it started to rain and reduced visibility to 18 inches. So we can see here that the only action occurring is right here. So this is a pretty good roll for the Germans. A 4, 3 2s, and a 3. They need to do some movement. So let's see what the Germans do with this in the reduced visibility of the rain, which is visibility is reduced to 18 inches. So you can't shoot at anything beyond 18 inches. Get to go again. So the Germans advanced because it's raining out. They were able to advance. The units over there are just within 18 inches, and they removed some shock. The senior leader removed some shock and shot and caused a couple shocks and wounded a Polish leader over there. And now we have another phase of Germans. So the Germans really pushed their squads up. We see how close they are now. And over here, they did some damage to this Polish squad over here, giving a shock and pinning them, actually, killing someone and pinning them. So now the Poles get to go, and it looks pretty shaky right now. So the Poles get 2 6s. They are running out of time, because the Germans, if they get 3 chain of command dice, the game ends and they are victorious if they can hold on. Their morale now, force morale is out of 5, so they have a ways to go, and the Polish force morale is still at 11. So the Poles have to think about what they're going to do. So the Polish player decided to use the 4 and a 3 on this side to remove shock and to continue the covering fire over here. Actually, we're going to remove the covering fire. I made a mistake. And we're going to actually shoot that squad over here, since the Poles get another phase. So let's go ahead and do that. This is the Germans' night. They got a 4 and a 2. They end the turn, and they get to go again. So now the turn will end. The Germans did some damage over here, another point of shock, and actually whittling down this Polish platoon over here. So the game turn ends, and this unit here, the Polish unit, becomes unpinned. So it looks like the Germans won by way of chain of command dice. They got 3 chain of command dice, which strategically ends the game. Interesting game. Let's take a look. So the Germans were able to win the game strategically, and they were doing significant damage to the Poles, and slowly the Poles were getting more whittled down. However, the Germans lost 2 tanks and an entire squad. The Poles lost a light mortar team, broke, and 1 squad is pretty worn out. But they held their ground, but because of the strategic situation, they were forced out. So actually, this is a pretty historical representation, because the 10th Mech did do on the Battle of Jordanow quite a significant damage to the German tanks, and they lost both tanks. So there you have it, the first game in a series of games in a campaign of 1939 Poland. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave comments below if I made any mistakes. Let me know.